What's going on? Welcome to the world premiere of hashtag GetBlerded, where everything in this discussion is going to be a little nerdy, blerdy, gamey, movies oriented, with a little tech and music thrown in between. I am your actually very sick host, Malco the Blerd. I am stumbling all over my words because I am just getting off of work. I had to set all this up. I had to do the microphone checks. If I am speaking too loud, guys, I am so sorry. I'm just dumb stoked for this. And with that much said, I have my very special guest on this. This is, again, the world premiere, so I'm glad to have these guys on here. First things first is my man from college right here. This is Ernst, a.k.a. Looney.
Looney Tunes, I'm here.
I got my main fellow dancing god himself, Ray.
What's going on?
And then my main Luigi main, Omar, as a.k.a. Spastic Fook. What's going on, guys?
What's going on,
How's
guys?
it going? Good to be here.
Thank you for the new follow, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you for coming through. All right, guys. So you guys ready to jump in?
Let's jump in.
I'm ready to jump.
Let's go. I love this excitement in the room.
Let's
So
jump.
basically, what's going on right now is that we do not have video. I just want to let you guys know that ahead of time. We are not going to do video just for this just yet. We'll be advancing towards video podcasts and such once we start getting ourselves a little bit more solidified with like the YouTube channel and different things like that. Those things will also be linked in the very bottom of the actual Twitch channel, which is including the panels and things like that too. At the end also, I'll be letting you guys know all my different guest social medias and any type of things that they do for content creation, and we'll be able to make sure that you guys also follow them on there as well. And with that much said, let's get started. So this is actually the topic for this particular podcast came up from my coworkers because I started recently working at T-Mobile, and when I started working at T-Mobile, I didn't realize like how many people were actually gamers and how many of them actually do the different things. Like a couple of them actually like play Pokemon Go and all this stuff. We add each other, we talk to each other and all that kind of stuff. So one thing that we came to the consensus of is that, and I know where I stand on this, but we got into a really crazy debate about like how we felt that game developers are getting really lazy, and we thought that maybe gaming is actually on its way down, where it's not going to have as much of influence in the world as it does currently, and we possibly have peaked. I want to possibly run that by you guys with a couple of questions, and maybe we can come to a consensus with each other, or just maybe debate upon it. Who feels gaming is on an upward turn, or is it in a downward spiral? What do we feel is coming up that's going to be able to make it so then it doesn't feel that way anymore? And even better, what exactly are you guys excited for in the future that's making you keep your faith in gaming? Because personally for me, I've lost my faith in gaming. And before I speak upon it, I'm going to go from left to right. So Ernst will start, then Ray, then Omar. And we will kind of hear each other's opinions upon that. So that first question, where do you guys feel that gaming is going right now? Do you feel like it's going up? Is it going down? Has it kind of plateaued a little bit? Ernst, give me your opinion.
All right. So to answer the question directly, if gaming is going up and going down, I'm gonna say up, for the sole reason that with the way the market is, AAA like titles, AAA companies like like Bungie or whatever, the issue that they have is that like they'll like come out and like they'll like, come out with like this like game, they'll have these ideas, and it just won't deliver. Like whatever it's, if it's like Activision or like EA, that ends up making their like video games like like they like have like these time constraints, and like they have these like absurd ideas of like what a video game should be, and like video gamers like us, we just don't agree with those views. So at the end of the day, like the games fail. But thanks to the way things are, like indie game developers, like if they have a good idea, they come up with like something that like seems like interesting, people will back it. And like once it's like backed, if they can deliver to like whatever they suggest, like it's something that's like backed by the community, it's backed by people that want to see this game come to fruition. That is what makes that's what makes a game like important. That's what makes a game like go up or something. So I think the market is like necessarily changing. My biggest example for that is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. A company of like 40 people came up with a AAA title, and like when we look up Like it better. It's like not even like a AAA title. It's better than a AAA title.
Quadruple?
Just better.
Quadruple.
I would say that it was like it's a quadruple it's like a triple A title, but like coming from like 40 individuals that made a game and like the game like looks pretty good. Don't quote me on that. It could be more people. Like I'm just like thinking about like what I saw online, but like it was a small indie company that made a video game and it came out really nice. It was very Dark Souls ish, very challenging. I remember I got stuck on a part and I ended up like rage quitting, and like to me that's like a good thing, because like like there's this difficulty. I just need to get good. Like it's not like an issue of like the game like has bugs or whatever. But like those are the kind of things that like are gonna keep gaming important, because like people are gonna come back and they're like, okay, gaming sucks now, and actual gamers are gonna start developing their games. They're gonna make a small company or something like Senua's Sacrifice, and then that's where like we're gonna get our next like genre of games from, unless these AAA companies decide that, hey, we're not like gonna milk shit or whatever. We're gonna come up with like something new and innovative. That's just my opinion on it. Ray, you're up.
All right. What you just said, that last point is I feel is especially true right now, and I feel like we are, as Malik said, plateaued. I think we are in a place where it could veer either way, either positively or negatively, and that does feel like a cop out answer, but I'll explain why. Like you said with the indie game thing, there are a lot of independent developers who just come out of nowhere with these spectacular games, and people say, who's this company? Who made this? But there's also an issue with the mainstream, the mainstream companies just oversaturating the market with stuff we've seen already. I mean, how many times have you had a conversation with people, or seen pictures online about, would you play, would you want a company to make more single player story games? And the overwhelming majority of people say, yes, give us more stuff that challenges me, that makes me feel emotions, that makes me enjoy the game. Not just, a copy paste formula of battle royale, everyone fights to the death. I mean, it can be fun to watch, obviously, but when you have Fortnite over here and Call of Duty over here and this shooter over here, that shooter over there, there's nothing wrong with those genres in and of themselves, but when that's all you're offering on multiple fronts, it can be very tiresome. So, having said that, I feel that because, as Ernst said, there are so many indie companies coming out of nowhere with these, great titles, that there is reason to hope for the future. And that's not to say that the AAA companies are not completely, out of the race, but they do need to get out of their set ways of, all right, this stuff has been making us money. Let's keep doing that. They need to start saying, all right, let's do some of the stuff that's made us money, but let's also make sure that the people that have stuck with us for that long don't get tired of us and move on to other people, because that's how you lose your audience.
Right.
Yeah,
Omar?
I absolutely agree. I mean, to bring the best out of anything, out of not just gaming, I'm speaking in a very, very vague term. To bring the best out of anything, there needs to be some competition. You definitely need different companies, especially now when you have a lot of these indie games and made by these very small companies, and they're making great titles. This is making noise to the bigger companies. This is making noise to the companies that are like, no, we're gonna do the same thing over and over again, and because it's worked, it's worked then and it should work now, and that's just not how you grow. You have to adapt, you have to change.
Exactly.
Nothing in this life is permanent except for change, and so I feel like right now I don't game as in like every day. I have a Nintendo Switch at the moment, and I'm still playing Breath of the Wild, and I've had that game for 2 years.
It's a good game.
It's a good game, but I've been playing
game.
the fact that I've been playing that game for 2 years is awesome. There's so much to do, and I have those moments where I want to rage quit and I want to throw my controller out the goddamn window. But a game is supposed to make me do that.
Right.
You know, if I have broken controllers, then that game was worth the money. 100%. So I feel like, I mean, now you have a ton of these games that are more so competitive, like Fortnite, PUBG, fun games for sure. It's just I feel like it's kind of the same thing over and over again, and that only lasts so long, because to me Fortnite is just this generation's version of Counter-Strike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's actually a really good comparison.
I used to love Counter-Strike. Don't get me wrong. Counter-Strike was great, especially when I was out in the Middle East with my cousins. That's all we would play. But that competitively playing only lasts so long. It's fun, but I mean, me personally, I don't have that kind of time to consistently practice at these competitive games. I love me a good single player story, and have really challenging scenarios, really challenging missions, things that really get me thinking outside of the box, because I feel like then there's more benefit to me playing the game as opposed to just playing for one purpose, and that is to compete. You know, people compete, and that's great. It's just you can't assume that the entire market is like that. You know, there's still guys that have grown up playing Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64. At the time, those were legendary games. Those paved the way for current 3D landscape and open world concept games. I feel like you can't overlook that market. You can't overlook that kind of genre, because that kind of genre is there's an endless possibility of what you can do with a single player game like that. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do with competitiveness. You can't do the same thing over and over again and expect to grow as a company. You know, at best you remain stagnant.
It's been a formula for like a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and like
stuck in this
right.
rut, basically.
So like the basic issue with like video games nowadays is that like there's no room for like anything that's like innovative. So like, you know, like Fortnite came out and people are like, oh my goodness, battle royales are what's popular. So you know, it's just like making another battle royale. Apex, great game. I cannot deny that it's not a great game.
Yo, remember how long, like when Apex first dropped, I remember how quickly we hopped on the bandwagon, and like we were going ham in that game. Like it was, we died, we immediately queued back up. Like we were really into that whole like tactical, we want to be all up in there type thing. But then that's something that got me thinking about like how gaming in general has just become like this standard 1 + 1 = fish type of formula. Where you literally have one thing plus one thing, and then all of a sudden it equals, like, let's put it for this example. So then you got 1 + 1. Let's just say Fortnite plus PUBG is 1 and 1, and then that equals Apex Legend, which just happens to be 2. But then all of a sudden now you got game developers that are like, Apex Legend is 2 plus random scenario other game, another 2 equals fish. And that's what I mean by the fish, is that for some reason game developers just feel the need to develop these outlandish games that for some reason either mix or crossbreed multiple genres that makes no sense whatsoever. And I think one of the biggest examples for that is when Call of Duty Black Ops 4 came out with Blackout, and I was like, why are there like zombies randomly in the middle of this map, of a battle royale map? And you're just like, what is going on here? Like, all of a sudden, like, you're sitting there and you're like, you see someone land like maybe a good like couple meters away from you. And you're like, oh, bet, let me go pick up these weapons and stuff. And the next thing you know, a zombie just comes out of nowhere and just whacks you down. 2 hits, you're done. And you're just like, what the hell just happened to me?
This is literally an easy game.
It's like you're done and you gotta queue right back up again. But like, see, that's the thing. Like, why would you want to put yourself through that consistent torture of like these multiple breeding genres that come together? Like, I'd rather just deal with a battle royale game and then a zombie survival game. I don't want both together. You're telling me I have to. I get it. Like in zombies, like real zombie survival mode, you're gonna want to have to compete against other people and or team up with other people. But like, if I am in a 100-person free for all, I don't want to worry about 110 people because I got 10 fucking zombies on my ass trying to kill me.
I was gonna say 100 people has become like the standard. Which, mind you, hasn't really been a standard for very long. Like the whole battle royale,
like, literally like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
I was gonna say it's very recent.
Right.
So to have the market oversaturated this quickly for this kind of thing that hasn't been here that long is wild to me. For them to be like, oh, this is already running out. let's add this, let's add zombies to a thing that already has 100 people. Or you could add something new to that, that content, instead of just the paint's peeling, just
just like paint over.
Yeah.
So like basically like
I
what
hate
they
that so
what they
much.
did is like like as gamers like we know that we like our player versus player.
of course.
Oh,
And like
no.
that's what's made these games like really popular.
Like,
Mhm.
I
Like-
play League every single day.
Right.
Like, that's a game that I put hours into because, well, one, I have sentimental value with it. Like, that was my first, like, true multiplayer experience that I had
Right.
during college with friends.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, I love that competitive factor. But I also sometimes, like, you'll catch me, like, at the end of this week, I was actually going to be hopping on Borderlands 2 with a couple friends.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
I'm like, why do we keep going back to a game that, came out, 2013?
Mhm.
Like, we go back to those types of things because we grasp onto what was great for us.
I'm glad you brought that up,
Yeah.
and like I'm gonna like make a couple statements about that.
Mm.
You brought up like going back to like a video game that like what came out when?
I think Borderlands 2, correct me if I'm wrong, who's ever in the chat, I think it was 2013 was Borderlands 2.
Okay, so it's like 2013. All right, so like it's been like the same thing. Like I'm a big MMO player. Like I like my massively multiplayer RPGs, whatever you want to call it. And like I recently got into WoW.
Mm.
And in the like since I was like 7 years old, after like RuneScape like found its downfall, WoW has been the best MMO ever, and everything else seems like a copy of it.
Mm.
And like to be honest, like you're gonna keep going back to what's old because like people like they're not innovative, and like the only people that could have been like innovative like for it would have been like Blizzard in like this case. And I recently read a documentary on like why Project Titan, which turned into like what's that game called? Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So like Project Titan was supposed to be another MMO, and like it was like
wow.
Blizzard did something smart here though. Like they realized that they overreached.
Mm-hmm.
They realized that like they were like coming up with like this stretch,
Mhm.
like they wanted to like make this MMO with like different modes, if like different things, and like that's good, but they didn't have the technology at the time,
Mm-hmm.
so then it just ended up making another game, and that's what Overwatch came like breathed into,
Right.
which is okay. And like the problem with like the MMO genre, like we're just like speaking specifically about that, is that like people have like these broad ideas of like what new things like they can bring into an MMO,
Mm-hmm.
and to this day, even in the state of WoW, for like old WoW players, classic WoW players, and like me, the only other MMO that like comes close to like being good is like Final Fantasy 14.
Mm.
And like to this day, like everything just like pales in comparison.
Mm.
Well,
I have not seen an MMO thrive in like the past 5 years.
Mm.
And like once I've played many Korean MMOs. I played a lot of MMOs that like just came out like in North America. And I've consistently played WoW even when I'm on my like break time. Like I'll just unsubscribe. But like when there's new content, like I'll come back to WoW.
Mm.
Right.
Like it's like they're doing something right. Like obviously.
So let me ask you this. So like just that's actually a good segue into the next question. So now, what is it that exactly like? Because like I already mentioned to you guys, like I personally feel that gaming has kind of declined between like consistently unfinished games being released
Mm.
and having a consistent like. It just feels like that we're on a downfall. But what exactly keeps everyone here, like, pursuing to continue playing games? Because I know that there's some gamers out there who personally feel like they've lost faith in the gaming community and also in the gaming developers themselves, where they don't even feel like they feel the need to game anymore. People are selling their systems. People are not, people like, I'll go down Facebook Marketplace and there's a lot more like fully built custom PCs that are up for sale because people literally just say, I don't game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I think about it and I'm like, yeah, I've bought games in the last like couple years by all means, don't get me wrong, but like I'm finding myself regretting more and more games. Like when I bought Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm pissed. I'm still pissed to this very day that I bought that. I spent the full $60 for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one can tell me that when you go through something, you've been so enthralled or so into a journey that you've been waiting for, and then all of a sudden you get to the so-called end of said journey, and it just basically stabs you in the heart and says, haha,
Mm-hmm.
you thought that, congratulations, you played yourself, and you really thought you were going to get this, but you didn't. And then you're just sitting there like, well, ain't that a bitch? Like, what? Like, think about that. Like, what exactly is it? Like, I have those, well, ain't that a bitch moments so many times, especially when gaming. I want to know from you guys, and I'm going to just, like, kind of start it off here. But, like, personally for me, I still have not seen any games that gives me, like, the same pleasure of, like, oh my god, I have to hop on this game. I have to make sure I play this.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't, like, I personally can't see that. And I hate that I call myself a gamer. But, like, as a gamer, I'm losing faith in games. Like, and I feel like I shouldn't be calling myself a gamer and having lost faith. But in reality, that's a big part of me. Big part of me is gaming. And so I can't sit here and just say I'm going to abandon it. So, like, what exactly, for you guys, like, what is it that keeps bringing you back to gaming?
Are we going in a circle?
Yeah, we're going to go back to the same circle.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so that's a big question. I'm going to sound like a preacher here. First and foremost, one of my first ever games, because like my parents don't like buy me consoles. My first games in general, like my area of expertise when it comes to games, is MMOs. So my first game ever was like RuneScape.
Oh wow.
And like
Old school.
Yeah, old school
Back.
RuneScape. This is like
What
way
we gonna
before.
do is go back.
This is way before
15
2007.
years,
Yeah, so
RuneScape's been around for a while now.
So like when I would play RuneScape every day, whenever I was like on with my friends or whatever, we would find something like fucking do. Like there was like that area in the barbarian village, like we would go down to, and like we'd get these boots at the end of like that whole thing once we finished this like puzzle. And like it was either like the rainbow boots or like these other boots, and like everybody got the rainbow boots because that's just what looked cooler. And you know, like every day it's like, you know, you just like found something that's like new, you know, it's like this discovery. Granted, like MMOs were just like new at the time. Another thing is just like, you know, video games that like just like make you feel like I have like my certain video games that like I really like Kingdom of Paradise. It's an old PSP game when like PSP was really popular. Like when I was going to when I was going, it was way ahead of its time. Like when Kingdom of Paradise was like one of my favorite games, and like they have like a second installment to the game, but it's only in Japanese, and I'm very upset about that. But that's a story for a different day. So like
maybe you just came with a new topic. Who knows?
Yeah, no, things like that, like you know, like gamers, like games in general, like whether it's like an MMO or like, well, it's something that's like telling a story. Even if it's just, even if you're the kind of gamer that just comes down to like gameplay, games tell a story. Like, you know, it's like it comes down to like down to like the nostalgia. Like, you know, when you're like playing, when you think about like Halo 2, like online, all the online stuff or whatever, when you think about like Maple Story, like all the popular stuff that like back in the day, all the things that like made it what it was. That comes down to like nostalgia. It made you feel like a certain way. Like when it comes like down to like first Smash Bros. And like the Brawl or whatever, that came down to like how it made you feel. And like I think that's what video games are missing. Video games used to tell a story, especially Final Fantasy. Oof. Final Fantasy is like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. Those are like the biggest examples that I can give of like what it means like when video games tell a story. It's like it like replaced the book for like a bookworm.
Oh,
but like, you know, it's just like, but it was just like something that you can do with friends. So it was like a social activity. If you were someone like me that like couldn't go out all the time, like it connected you to other people that you didn't know. Like I was in guilds with people that were like in Australia, and you know, we had to like communicate like on how we were gonna like do this raid, how we were gonna do this dungeon, how we were gonna get past this part. Like, you know, like walking in the wilderness in RuneScape with like your friends, like just like thinking like you were like a fucking thug, like you know, you're just like a different place. Like we're on the street, I'm a suspect, hanging with the killers in the projects. Yeah. And you know, you're just there, like who's trying to fuck with us? Like, you know, like let's like easy money, like, you know, someone's losing their rune gear these like today, and like that's what it was about. Like, you know, they have like the competitive issues. There's like a story. There's like all these different elements that make a video game like a video game. Like at the end of the day, whether the video game itself told its story, or whether like what you did in the video game, like the wonder that you like you know, like saw in that video game, that's what like at the end of the day it comes down to a story, whether you like it or not. Like, you know, like the video game told a story or you told a story, and like that's what made it great. You know, it was like something new, and like I feel like today's video games are not something new. Like every time like we see like E3 or something, you know, It looks fantastic. Like I get a mental boner or like something. I'm just like, oh my goodness, this game looks nice. And then push comes to shove, it's just like nothing great. Like
we're throwing direct shade at Anthem, by the way.
Yes,
Just
I was
Anthem.
literally about to. You can ask anybody that knows me. Like when Anthem was about to come out, I was like, oh my goodness, this is about to be the next big thing. I'm like, oh, this is about to be a good story. I was literally in fetal position in my room, just like waiting for this game to come out. Like my computer, like I have a laptop and like it's a gaming laptop, and I thought like, oh, this can handle it. And like there was like some lag issues. I'm like, fuck it, I'm spending $1,000 and I'm building a computer just to, like putting all the RAM in that motherfucker just to play this game.
Oh wow.
And like it came out and like it was a flop. Like my heart sank to the bottom of the earth.
It was such a flop to a point where I was reading articles where EA was considering just putting Anthem free to play.
Oh. Exactly.
Like it was that botched of a release and that botched up of a game that there was consideration of. And I mean, I could probably find this article all over the place, but like they were considering Anthem to be free to play. And it's like when you initially release, like, and Fallout 76 did the same thing too.
Oh yeah.
Where all of a sudden, like you're,
by the way.
And then all of a sudden, you know, you just have this game that just happens, and you're like, oh, we're gonna hype it up. Like I remember watching the E3 for E3 2018 when Bethesda came up, and they were showing like Fallout 76, and they just had, you know, what's the song called for West Virginia? And they just started playing, and you got everybody really singing along in the crowd. You got even when I was watching, I was singing along too. I was like, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. And I was just like, I was sitting there, I was going ham with it. And the thing is that I was really feeling it, because I don't even like the Fallout games like that. But they were telling me some of the aspects of it, like, you know, an always online environment. You do interact with other people. And that's something that a lot of you gamers were excited for. But then the overall game itself was botched. And we were just like, damn, what do we do? Like, how do we just take it because we love Bethesda and we love Fallout? Do we just take it as it is and just call it a day? And that's what's something that gamers are starting to become slowly more. It's complacent. And that's why I'm asking, like, for Ray, we're going to get to you now. But, like that's why I keep asking the question of what keeps your faith in games, because in the recent years, I personally lost faith. And I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but...
All right, well, I'm going to take a similar route that Ernst took and talk about where my, you know, kind of what my gaming timeline was. So I first of all, I didn't have a lot of friends that were into gaming besides Pokemon. I didn't find them until elementary school. Other than that, no one was really coming over to my house to play games. Like, I didn't have the first player, second player issue.
Right.
But I started with the Sega Genesis, and I had World of Illusions, and I had Echo the Dolphin. That's pretty much all I have. I was firstborn, so I was very sheltered. So I didn't have Mortal Kombat. I didn't have Doom. I didn't have any of that. For the longest time, it was just World of Illusions and Echo the Dolphin. Then I got my Dreamcast. I had a demo disc that had like anyone who's had a Dreamcast knows that one demo disc that had like 30 different games on it.
Yes. And
had these like one level or two characters or whatever. It was, for me, it was either Power Stone or Sonic.
Power Stone.
Okay. What we gonna do here?
I love
is
Power
go
Stone.
back.
Bring it back. Bring it back, please.
I was always Falcon, because I mean, when he transformed, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then I have the first level of the Sonic Adventure just memorized. The beach level, are you kidding me?
Who can forget?
Who can forget that? So that was and then Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Dreamcast. Can't touch it. Couldn't touch it. I was set for a hot minute, but then my Dreamcast, you know, finally just bit it. Yeah.
Everyone bites the dust.
Right.
And another one gone, and another one gone.
Okay.
That's what happens to all Dreamcast, man. Mine.
So then PS1 happened for me, and that's for me, that's a lot. That's Tekken. That's Spyro, Year of the Dragon. I didn't have the first two, but Year of the Dragon. That was Digimon World 3. That was Toy Story 2. That was a bunch of sports games that I barely played, but whatever. And then the PS2 happens, and that's just, I could go on and on about that.
Listen,
but
PS2 gave us some of the best games of our time.
I'm just saying. I was just playing Tekken 4 like 3 days ago. Saying all that to say, when it came to me, it wasn't about other people. It was about what the game had to offer. It was just me and the game. So when it came to story, that was a big part of it for me. So like the first time I played through all the Tekken games, I'm just like, what is going on with the Kazama family? You know what I'm saying? Digimon World 3, even though it got mediocre scores, the music, the walking around, I've got 3 Digimon, the battles, the Digimon.
Can I say something real quick about Digimon?
Yeah.
Digimon was better than Pokemon. People just don't want to admit it. Sorry.
He came
All
for
right,
it.
don't start a flame war.
I'm not trying to start a flame war. It's just a fucking fact.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're either an adult at this point or like you're still a child.
I
Sorry.
will agree with the anime. I will not agree with the games. I will
No,
put that out there
that's
right
exactly
now.
what I meant.
That's
Yeah, no, the anime was significantly better.
That's
That's fair.
fair. But hold, like,
And I want to just thank you. I guarantee that's my friend Kyle from Ernst. You're still a child. And that's Kyle, by the way.
Probably. Wait, what does it? K Miller.
Yeah, you already know that's Kyle.
Yeah, he can eat my left nut right now.
Oh my god. Ooh. Oh no, Ernst. You're getting a little wild, but like, go ahead, Ernst, continue.
But yeah, so for the longest time it was just I went off a little bit, my bad. But for the longest time it was just me and the game was about the story. And the same thing could have been said for Pokemon, because I started with Red and Blue, as you know all OGs do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, I found other people who like Pokemon. I'm just like, wait, this is not just me. And now I'm talking link cables, okay?
Yeah, like back in the day,
on the
indoor
bus,
recess,
on the bus across the aisle, that whole thing,
here.
you know. And so after that point, it became about the story and playing with other people. So saying all that to bring it to now, we're in a place where you're either doing multiplayer online stuff, or you're getting decent single player games with a decent story. Every now and then you have some real shiners in both categories, but
like, do you mind me just throwing out a couple examples real quick? So like a couple examples of some like really big time, like these are games that we constantly go back to. I would definitely say the first 2 Arkham games. So Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. I don't really go back. I don't like going to Arkham City or Arkham or not Arkham City. Gotham, is it Arkham Knight? Arkham Knight. I don't know. I just blanked on that. Arkham Knight and like Origins. I don't even talk about. Then we got like Horizon Zero Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh.
Nier Automata was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I would say definitely God of War PS4.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then for the final nail in the coffin for like one of the best like single-handedly the best like single player story mode game to come out as of last year had to be Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Marvel Spider-Man has to have been the best possible single player story mode you can possibly get.
And there was a lot of pressure for that game because people will still. Spider-Man 2 was another one that is still hailed as a classic, as a legend. You can't touch it. Hadn't gotten the web swinging right yet since then until Spider-Man PS4. So that's again another example of what I'm talking about. But like right now we're in a place where like there's such a thing of mediocrity for the most part, except for these few shiners that you just mentioned. So what keeps me going is the idea that maybe someone will catch on to the fact that if I make a game that looks really pretty and has all these technological advances and the gameplay is great and it's a good game, people will continue to buy these games. Maybe if I let people play next to each other instead of just online, because that's the thing. How many games right now that are multiplayer allow you to just give somebody else a controller? You know how many games that are just
Bros that's pretty much it.
Okay, like
Smash Bros.
Maybe
the Let's Go games.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
Smash Bros.
Mario Kart,
Let's Go, Mario Kart. What's it called? I think it's Love in a Dangerous Universe, Overcooked, that kind of stuff.
Ironically enough, I think all those titles are also available on the Switch, which makes a very big point.
Okay, like Nintendo seems to get this point, but the people, the PS4, Xbox. You mean the people that don't understand the concept of local play? They used to.
Apparently not. Apparently we don't care about local play anymore. Like I remember all the times, like when I was like 10 years old, I used to all the time. Me and my younger brother, actually, we had this one friend of ours, his name was Mikey, and we used to go to his house all the time to play GameCube version of GoldenEye 007, and we used to always play Smash Brothers Melee, and those were like the 2 main games that we did, but the thing is about it, what made it so special, was the fact that we always went to his house and played. Like, we went out our way to make sure we went to a friend's house to actually play these games, and that's what makes such a difference now. It's like, I mean, like, personally for me, if I could, I would gladly host a LAN party inside my own home because, like, I have the Wi-Fi to do it and everything like that. So I would love to, like, have me and a couple of my dudes, like, yo, we're hosting a LAN party. We're just going to sit here. We're going to chill. And we're going to game. And I get it's a lot more convenient to do it from your own home. It only makes sense that way. But the thing is that we're kind of forgetting what it truly meant to be gamers. And that's also, like, you know, bringing everybody together in under one, like, single roof and really getting those people together. What's up?
So, like, at that point, like, I just want to mention that, like, you know, when it comes to gaming, there's always been a social aspect to it.
Oh, yeah, true.
Even I grew up with some pretty strict parents. So, like, my first, like, family of, like, gamers has come from, like, people that were, like, online. People from all over the world, Australia, England. And, you know, like, that was, like, my first, like, family. Like, I would literally come back from, like, high school, and I would come back to my, like, computer, and I'd be like, I would just want to see who's on the fucking, like, either whether we had raid call at the time. That's how old I am.
You're like, hey, yo, who's up?
Yeah, we had raid call, and, like, we would like, literally check to see who was on, like, who was on raid call, and, like, I would check to see the messages or, like, stuff like that.
So, real quick, Kyle brought up a really quick point. So, me, Kyle, and our other friend, Goofy, he's known as Wyatt as well.
Rito.
It was we went during the X and Y and the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire and Sun and Moon. We went to all three of those midnight releases together. And the community that we met out there was absolutely insane because we were surprised. Like, I think we had to wait in a line of like 60 plus people at the GameStop we normally went to. And it was just like, wow, this many people are coming out for a release of a game. Again, another Nintendo title, which is... I'm sick of making that point. But that's the thing, is the fact that it got you out there. It made you go. You actually wanted to be there for the release. And that's because of the people you made friendships with, those people who you're close to, and you're trying to also meet other people. And, like, this is why we go to conventions. This is why we do things like that. And I'm glad, thank you for bringing that point up, Kyle, because that was really, really big for that. Because I remember going to those releases.
I know you want to go, Stu, but, like,
do your thing.
I remember when Pokemon Go came out.
Yeah.
The game.
I was at Connecticut during that
I didn't work on my fucking phone, man.
Oh yeah, you weren't even in this country at the time.
I didn't get the hacked version because I know they were banning people for that.
Yeah, no.
I was literally at Chipotle with my brother and a couple friends when the game actually dropped, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I'm gonna pick a Pokemon, you know, and like, unbelievable. I was taking classes at Housatonic like during that summer. And, like, you know, I would go out in, like, downtown Bridgeport, and I'd meet people, and, you know, like, I was having trouble, like, catching some Pokemon, somebody would help me. Like, so, like, games, like, literally bring people together. And, like, that was, like, that is a kind of innovation, like, that we need. Like, even to Hearthstone, like, Firesides. Those are the kind of innovations, like, that we need. Games are not, like... Even if it's, like, a story mode, like, you would go, like, to your friends that have the same game as you, and you would go and you would talk to them about, like, well, this is what happened, like, you know, like, someone will point something out that you would miss, or something like that, you know? Games have always been a social thing, single player or not. Sorry. I'm not sorry.
I mean, like, I would like to hear Omar's little tidbit on this as well, because this is definitely
Ernst,
this is important.
All of you guys have mentioned things that I not only agree with, but are super critical into, like you said, games are supposed to tell a story, and they're supposed to bring people together, right? And for me, it was Pokemon is the biggest game that did that for me. All right, told the story, and it brought people together.
I mean, you got a bunch of people running around saying, like, it made you, like, oh my god, I want to become a master Pokemon trainer.
And literally, I wish, it was a game that I wished that all animals were Pokemon.
Yes.
Okay, and if that was the world, I'd go vegan. Okay?
Absolutely.
I would absolutely go vegan. If I lived in that world, I will make that sacrifice.
I would, like, literally never eat a Pikachu.
I could never see myself eating a Pikachu or a milk tank or something like that. Like, they're supposed to be my friends, even though I kind of still wonder what they eat in the Pokemon world. And also, yes, they have announced new ones for the Switch. They are Pokemon Sword and Shield. And that is actually something I'm not excited for, and I will explain why later.
I was going to say that we should come back to that.
Yeah, we will come back to that. That'll be like the next one.
Put a bookmark there.
No, that's we'll bookmark it. The next question is gonna be like literally the next question actually is what game are you disappointed that you're kind of disappointed in that's coming out later this year? And so I have a whole tidbit about that.
I can imagine why. But with Pokemon, here's the thing. You needed to help your guys out, right? I remember the first Pokemon game that I really got into, of course, prior to playing Pokemon Diamond, I had played Ruby and I had played Sapphire. I didn't complete them fully because it was cool, but I had nobody to play with. I couldn't trade Pokemon, and when I got stuck, I got stuck. You know, I couldn't go past that because I was too stupid to use the computer and figure out my way around it, right? But then Pokemon Diamond and Pearl came out, and I remember my boy, he bought both Diamond and Pearl, thinking that those games were entirely different, but he just realized that they're just different Pokemon. So he looks at me and he's like, yo, take Diamond, because now we can play together. He gave me a whole $40 game.
Wow.
Just so we can play together. And that was I remember 2007, 2008, man, I brought my DS with me whenever I took a shit because I needed to catch either Yuxi, Azelf, whatever, man.
Oh my God.
Annoying to catch, man. But that was the point. That was the point. It told a story. It made me want to hold on to my DS at all frickin' times. I go over to my friend's house so we can trade Pokemon, borrow Pokemon so I can either beat the Elite Four, some gym leaders that are tough as hell. Like, that was the point, because Nintendo always asks the question, what are going to bring people together?
Yep.
And what's going to tell a story?
Exactly.
And then they build the game around that, you know? And with every Pokemon game, they always re-ask that question. It's like, okay, how can we be more intuitive this time? You know what I mean? The one thing that I will say that I'm looking forward to in Pokemon Sword and Shield is max raid battles. I think that concept, I would have loved that concept back when I was playing Pokemon Diamond and Pearl.
Oh, absolutely.
That kind of thing is again, it goes on. We're going to bring more people together. It's not just we're going to bring people together, but we're going to make people go out.
So,
you know what I mean?
If you don't mind me asking this, so in like just as a quick like yes or no answer from everybody, and this is kind of like what I'm drawing from the general consensus is that everyone is keeping their faith in gaming for the sheer aspect of how it brings the community together. Am I right?
It brings people together and it tells a story. And, you know, sometimes, like, Breath of the Wild, it doesn't really bring people together for me, but it tells a damn story.
Actually, you might be wrong about that. I believe that Breath of the Wild brought many people together because they never thought that an open world game like that on that scale would actually work for Zelda. Originally, people thought that Breath of the Wild was going to fail, and then what happened? Because you got two games that were actually very similar. Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn came out literally the same exact year. And Breath of the Wild, like literally Horizon Zero Dawn was projected to be the game of the year. Like everyone was looking at like, oh my god, this is game of the year. And then next thing you know, boom, all of a sudden you got Breath of the Wild come out of nowhere, taking it from the woodwork. Like, hey, we know you're an indie developer that's working with Sony to get this released, but we as Nintendo have our repertoire, and we're gonna drop this massive bombshell to make sure that you guys see exactly what we're getting at. And boom, next thing you know, Breath of the Wild comes out, everyone's going absolutely nuts for it.
You mentioned Zelda, like in an open world Zelda game. Like, as much as I love Horizon Zero Dawn, and as much as immersive as that game was, there's no way. I love Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, I'm like potentially buying a PS4 for it. Just for the game. I never buy a console just for a game. But like because like there's probably gonna be a like part 2 coming out for that game. I'm gonna get a PS4.
But you know what's crazy too? That's the crazy thing. Same thing. Breath of the Wild 2 was announced at the same time. You can't tell me these
Horizon Zero Dawn is not gonna be it. Like I'm sorry. Like Zelda's like been here. Like, how old were you when Zelda came out? Like, everyone loved fucking Zelda. It's like, it's just not happening. Like, I understand, like, Horizon Zero Dawn is like a new, like, it's like a new gen thing, and like, I will always love it. I love when things change. I love when things change for the better. I love when, like, things come out with the new graphics or whatever. That's why I was, like, really into, like, RuneScape, like, 3 or whatever. But, you know, a lot of people hated it. But, like, I just like new things. I like seeing things get better. I like seeing things, like, progress.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, like, you can't see there's certain old, I'm, like, sitting here, I'm 24 years old, and I'm playing WoW. Okay?
But, I mean,
the original MMO.
No, dude, you gotta take into consideration of, like, the group chat that I put us all in, Omar, you don't have Facebook anymore, so I couldn't put you in the group chat for that.
That's cool.
But the thing is that, like, half the dudes who are in that group chat are, like, old heads. Like, there's dudes who, like, they were talking about, like, arcade cabinet days. Like, that's, like, their gaming expertise is the arcade. Like, these dudes used to go to arcade cabinets to fight against each other in fighting games. Like, that's what these dudes used to do for themselves. And so, like, us being, like, between the ages of, like, 22 to 25, doesn't really like affect, because there's plenty of people who like, I go to cons and I'll meet people who like, oh, I've been a gamer since I was like back in the 1980s, and I was like, damn, 1980s.
Yeah.
Like, I look at them and I'm like, you're in your 40s, you're still gaming? Holy shit, I can't imagine. How do you still do it?
Right.
Like, and
In
clearly they haven't lost their faith in games. Like, I in my mid-20s am starting to lose faith.
Right. In my MMO experience, I've met like husband and wife and
That's
their
the best
kid
thing.
that are playing the same fucking video game.
That's the best thing.
You know, like that's how I want to be. Like I want to
One of my
I want to have a
friends
wife.
met his
like, you know,
girlfriend over Discord, or actually his wife. Actually, he's actually with her now.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's
I think,
been,
I'm not
like-
sure if they're watching the stream right now, but if you are, safe, hi, and Rich, thank you for following. But like,
It's been
that's
the same thing with RuneScape, dude.
exactly.
Like people have met like they're like they bought their GF for 5 GP and like here they are with a fucking kid. And, like you know, it's like
You got all that now.
exactly.
But so that'll actually bring us on to the next question of exactly what that's coming out this year is kind of like gonna be disappointing to you. What exactly are you looking into? Like, oh man, I've been waiting for this, but then ultimately, like, you're starting to see trailers, you're starting to see some of the gameplay, and you're kind of like, meh. I don't know if I'm really as excited for this anymore. Of course, I already kind of explained mine. It's Pokemon Sword and Shield right now. I have been a diehard Pokemon fan since literally the inception. Like, my first ever video game was Mortal Kombat, but
Shaolin monks, bro. Shaolin monks.
listen, man, when I first figured out how to do the Sub-Zero fatality when he rips their spines out, I realized I was a messed up child.
Yeah.
But then my mother introduced me to actually one of my bullies from elementary school actually introduced me to Pokemon. And he let me borrow his Pokemon Gold version, which was really, really weird. I found that extremely, like, I was like, you're my elementary school bully, and yet you're letting me borrow games. But that's a different story for another day. And then every year, whenever they announced a new Pokemon game, I always made sure that was on the priority list, because I just grew up with Pokemon, and it became such a part of me, where every time I see a trailer, opinions on the Pokemon movie, when we speak about movies, that'll be another time.
Right.
But because again, like I said, these podcasts are gonna be a weekly thing. But that's the thing, is that when Pokemon ultimately like became like, I actually got to play it for the first time, I was like, oh my god, this is actually something weird. And I didn't think I would ever like RPG style games, because my first ever game was a fighting game, and I thought fighting games were gonna be the things that constantly went on in my life.
Yeah.
But then as things got better and better, I noticed certain things became more and more like stagnant with Pokemon, and I was just like, I'm consistently battling. I was going to like the Toys R Us events and different things like that to compete against people and all that kind of stuff. And like, I've already talked to like multiple friends of mine, like my accolades with Pokemon and doing the type of things I've done. But it's like, then I was like, okay, let me keep this going. And then I realized it was going downhill once X and Y came out, and the difficulty cap was like cut in like absolute half. I get that we have to appease to like newer gamers and games like kids, but like making it easy for the people who have stuck by you for so long is not exactly a healthy way of making
X and
a
Y
game.
was a walk in the park.
Literally,
so easy.
It was
Imagine like
terribly
being
easy.
good at Dark Souls. Like that's not.
Could
supposed
you
to be-
imagine?
Yeah, that's not
Like,
supposed to be a weird
like,
thing.
okay,
like,
so
I'm
like,
sorry.
I actually did a playthrough of Pokemon X and Y without EXP share, and I was still able to get through the entire game without having a single Pokemon faint the whole way through.
It's ridiculous.
And I was not allowed to use items in battle. Like, that's what made me realize how easy this game was getting, because you could just literally, like, the AI patterns were so easy, and it didn't, like, you didn't make me feel as if the challenge was pressing.
Yeah.
By the time I got to Diantha at the end, I was like, Jesus Christ, who cares about this character? Who cares about this whole damn story? Oh my, and then it's like, oh my god, there's this giant weapon in the middle of this town that no one even cares about. Like, you're in there for like 30 seconds before you have to leave.
I remember my first fight, like when I was playing one of the Witcher games, Witcher 3. I remember like my first fight with like one of these like one of the bastards, like the antagonists or whatever. This guy kicked my ass so many times that I was just getting frustrated. So like, you know, like that's the thing. Like when you like finally put the pause on this guy, you know what I'm talking about? When you finally put the pause on this guy,
I finally came.
that's like you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm the shit, you know? Like,
right, like you
can't
ever
beat
had
me.
that game where you're just like, yo, I came in here to throw smoke. you came in to throw smoke and kick some ass, and you all out of smoke. Like, you just ready to beat that ass. Like, you ever think about it that way, and then you're just like, damn, I can't believe like I finally got through this. And I think for like Pokemon, like I think Diantha was the last really hard champion that we actually went up against. Not Diantha, Cynthia. Cynthia was the very last hard champion that we ever went up against. And I'm like, all right, so are you gonna ever give me this challenge again? And we kind of got that challenge again in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, considering the fact that Ultra Necrozma was extremely difficult as a legendary boss battle. Like, he was the hardest Pokemon boss battle of all time. And then you had actually, the champion wasn't even that difficult.
No,
the professor wasn't. Hal was not that difficult. The Kahunas were very difficult, actually, in my opinion, and so were the totem challenges.
Okay, for Pokemon though, like, I don't know how far they can go with like coming out with like new Pokemon.
That's exactly
why. Pokemon deserves an MMO at this point.
Well, and see, that's the thing,
like Pokemon Go is like one thing, but like the game deserves an MMO.
Enable Shockwave, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, that's Carl. Oh boy.
But anywho, the thing is that like just to finish off my thought real quick is the fact that now we are at a point now where the Pokemon games are getting significantly easier, and I thought Let's Go was gonna be a challenge, and it terribly wasn't.
No. That was just a placeholder.
That was just a place, and that didn't even hold its place.
It's supposed to be entry point. And
exactly.
For an entry point, I get it. Like if you're trying to get a brand new generation of people to get into Pokemon, Let's Go is the way to go. That's for sure. But for guys like us, Let's Go is a walk in the park. Let's Go was like, by the way, this is what Pokemon can be on the Switch and more. And
I feel like they should have offered more than that, though.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you're gonna make us wait that long, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just give some, like, obviously do something to bring in the new people, but also give something to you know, exactly, you know.
That is Ernst typing back to you. You can remember they can hear you.
Kyle can play for me like right now. Like, listen, I understand that you said you're going through with what you're gonna do, but like, you know, this is a podcast for me and my boys.
But actually, Ernst, so we could just keep it quick because I know we're reaching an hour right now, which is actually kind of surprising. I'm glad that we got this far.
Right.
I dig.
So let's keep it quick. We still got one more question before we get to the final parts of this the outro of our podcast here. So just to get this next question out. So for you, real quick, what game have you seen E3 releases? Any type of thing that you've seen? What doesn't really look like it's gonna hold up its hype to you personally?
None of the games at E3 look like they're gonna hold up the hype to me. Like, E3 has, like, been, like, less and less valuable to me. Like, I remember the last, like, 2017, like, E3 was, like, the pinnacle of E3 for me. I think that's when, like, I forget what game came out. It was a zombie game, but that looked, like, pretty good.
DayZ or
Days
Gone.
Yeah, Days Gone by.
That one with the big old horde of zombies that's, like,
running
at you. That's Days Gone.
I was going to say, was it Days Gone or Dying Light?
It might have been Dying Light. Dying Light had a very good trailer. But you know, that's usually what like, gets me into like a video game. But like, like I honestly wasn't like surprised. Like, Nintendo pretty much kicked ass. This E3.
They didn't even really have much of like an actual like. No. They don't really do anything, and yet people are still like, Nintendo wins.
Yeah.
Nintendo wins. Nintendo's always gonna win because of A, nostalgia, and like B, like, it brings people together.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because they innovate. They still.
I was gonna say out of the three big ones, you know, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo.
Sony wasn't even there.
Oh, Sony wasn't even there.
Yeah, Sony. Yeah, this year, and people were saying like the actual like E3, like, it was so boring without Sony there.
Yeah.
You know, so, sorry, Xbox. Like, you know.
So my bad. So like, in terms of the bigger companies, Nintendo has been the one to, I think, be the least resistant to changing, you know.
Oh yeah, no.
In some ways good, in some ways bad, but in general, like, what you know, what we were saying about Pokemon, what you were saying about Breath of the Wild. If you said like 5 years ago that Legend of Zelda was going to be open world, not even open world. If you brought up the concept of Hyrule Warriors to somebody 5 years ago, they'd have called you crazy. They'd have had a fit.
Or like the fact that
you probably would have thrown hands, like, to be honest.
And like, can you think about it, like the concept of you have a Legend of Zelda game, where you have open world, and you actually have to survive. Whoa! Like, that made everyone go fucking nuts, man.
Yeah. On top of that, it was just honestly a good game.
Shoot a goddamn chicken.
Shoot a chicken, shoot a deer, shoot a goat. You gotta find that. food, man.
It was
Work
like-
for your bread.
It was
cook
honestly,
it.
it was
And
honestly a
cook
good
it.
game. If I'm like looking forward to a game, like if after like Fallout 76 was like pretty bad, I'm sorry, but like if they're coming out with another Elder Scrolls, like that's something I'm like a big fan of.
Yeah.
So like if that comes out good,
I'm
like
sorry we didn't see any of that.
yeah,
It
no,
was pretty
I'll be like when they announce it though, like the
It'll be
last
over.
E3, like I needed to go to the hospital because I had an interaction that lasted more than 4 hours. But like like it's just like stuff like that. But
yeah. So when
whatever.
when it comes to expect disappointments I'm expecting. When I first heard about the Avengers game that Square was working on,
that hurt me right here.
and I was like, this was just off of the heels of Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm like talking just off the heels of Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm just like, oh really? And before it was just whispers. Before it was just like, hey, Avengers game, Square Enix. I'm just like, okay. And then I see it, and I'm just like, oh, it's not terrible.
Why does Black Widow look like she has the chin of an MMA fighter?
Literally, like
Someone explain that
if
to
you're
me.
gonna make a Marvel game, just bring back like Marvel Ultimate Alliance and call it a day.
Which they're
Honestly.
doing
What they are, like, I know.
for Nintendo Switch only.
Wow.
But on top of
I
that,
did
they
not
just
realize
should have
that.
brought back Power Stone, and if that's the case, like,
Right.
bring me a new Power Stone and like.
So
We need
like
that.
what disappointed me about it was not like it. First of all, it doesn't look terrible. Something about it just doesn't look right. The designs just are not everyone. A few of them are a little too bulky. You know what I'm saying? Like Captain America's thick, yeah, okay.
Captain America's wearing hockey pads.
They're actual hockey pads.
Literally, Batman literally says, "What makes us so different from you? I'm not wearing hockey pads."
And then they make Captain America wear hockey
And then they
pads.
make them one of the most recognizable superheroes currently out there, other than Batman and Iron Man and Black Panther, obviously. Out there right now, what do? You put the man in hockey pads.
Yeah. So it wasn't just how they looked. It was just like, all right, and like the stories. Oh, Captain America's dead apparently, maybe. And I'm just like, we're doing a Captain America death fake out. Is that what we're doing?
Oh,
Okay.
great.
But then the whole thing at the reveal was like, hey, you don't have to buy any characters. You don't have to pay for anything. And then later, you're gonna have to pay for stuff. And I'm just like, guys,
The monetization thing we're sick of. Come on.
so
Monetization,
exactly.
like, listen, like, the one thing that we have to understand about, like, video games, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah.
So, like, the one thing that we have to understand about video games, like, they need to, like, make money.
Of
But
course.
the thing is, they don't understand how, like, fucking gamers work. At the end of every game, it's just, like, a fashion statement.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmetics are the fucking way. Path of Exile have proved that.
League of
Path
Legends
of,
does it
exactly.
all the time. They
Path
make
of
millions off just
Path of
skins.
Exiles have proved
Oh,
to
yeah.
the point where they even made their own article about like what it was like to go to an ARPG a conference with like other like big wigs, other AAA like companies on what it's like to make like video games, and they were told that they need to like nickel and dime their players. So what Path of Exile did, Grinding Gear Games, shout out to them. What they did was they came out with like cosmetics that were like fireworks that said pay to win.
Mm.
That's the kind of people I want making my fucking video games. Like you see, like there are certain like companies that are just like true to themselves. Like that's why Path of Exile rivals fucking like Diablo.
Mm.
Like Diablo 4 is coming out. There's actually Overwatch 2 coming out too. Like I just found that out
Really?
a couple. They're working. Overwatch 2 is in like development. Like it's crazy. Like I don't think we need a Overwatch 2 at this point.
Yeah, I
It's gonna
mean,
be
I'm
I
curious.
think
I'm curious what
Overwatch-
my
Yeah,
bad.
go ahead.
I'm curious what they can add to an entirely new game that they couldn't add to
Okay.
the original Overwatch. Besides, like I don't know, maybe
It was supposed
local
to-
play and story mode.
It was supposed to be an MMO.
Mhm.
Like it was
Overwatch,
originally like if you notice the feel of Overwatch, you'll notice that it plays a lot like Skyrim,
Mhm.
Yeah.
where you kind of have like you kind of see like only the initial in front of you. You got your NPCs around you, that kind of stuff. You roam around. And all that.
It was
Meant to
originally
be-
called Project Titan.
Yep.
Blizzard let the game go because it was they just were like they did the right thing. Blizzard did the right thing. What they did was like they realized that like this game is like over like they can't like they didn't have the technology. They didn't have the technology to like like make this game work, and that's like a lot of like things like that are on like on like that fundraising site for like video games. They make a lot of they say like we can do this, we can do that, we can do the third, and I'm like, no, you can't. Like people will put in money into this game and like you cannot deliver the mechanics that you said that you were gonna deliver, and like that's not helping the MMO. The MMO genre is already dying as it is.
Because we're being overpromised and underdelivered.
Exactly,
basically.
pretty much. No Man's Sky is the biggest fucking example.
Oh my god.
That, like,
No, I think Anthem has taken over that spot.
It used to be
No Man's Sky is still a thing. Like that,
No
like,
Man's Lie is what he used to be.
Yeah,
called.
like it's still it's like No Man's Sky is at least getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a lot of faith in Anthem.
You won't
like,
even care for No Man's Sky until once you play Astroneer, by the way.
I'm like hurting right now.
Which that's actually one of the games I'll be streaming. Omar, you sir, what exactly? And I think I probably already know.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
because we kind of talked about this already before.
Yeah.
But like, I just want to know, like, what? Like, I think you could add a little bit more tidbits than I could. But
Yeah.
because I know Sword and Shield for you right now is kind of looking grim. It's
I
kind of
mean,
looking grim.
It worries me. It doesn't. I'm not disappointed, and I'm not exactly upset. I'm worried. Okay, the reason I'm not upset is because I understand if they put in all the Pokemon into one game, there's that fear of it's just gonna be too much for the game to handle.
Right.
All right, I get that. I get that 100%. Right. That does not mean that Nintendo cannot fix that error. You know, it doesn't mean that they can't add some sort of expansion pack. Because imagine if they released Breath of the Wild with the expansion packs both in the game. It would. I mean, shit. Try to go through the Lost Woods in Breath of the Wild. Quite laggy.
Yeah.
Quite laggy.
Yeah, no.
You know, and it's okay. It's okay. It's still a beautiful part of the game, but that lag is just like, whoa. You know what I mean? So
Ew.
Nintendo wants to back away from that. I respect them for it. I respect them
Completely.
for it completely because with Pokemon Sword and Shield. There's that wild area that kind of gives it that Breath of the Wild feel. That gives it that, okay, now we can be in control of the camera. Now, okay, so like that's fine, like that's cool, and I'm excited for that. What worries me is if Nintendo doesn't fix it.
Right.
But knowing Nintendo, they fix things. You don't believe me? The fucking Wii U.
People had like going on about that like. People had shot on the Wii U for like a long. People had shot on Wii U for like a year.
Yeah.
And then like a couple of games came out for like what that Mario University game.
Mario Galaxy.
Yeah,
it was Super Mario 3D World.
Yeah, it's like and people were just like excited for it. All of a sudden, it was like the best console ever.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo knows what it's doing. You're not wrong. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But then
they just didn't market it properly.
Right.
No.
They tried to market it as like a portable system that wasn't exactly portable.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, what can we actually do? And then all of a sudden, the inception of the Nintendo Switch about maybe 7-8 years later from the release of the Wii U.
Yeah.
Wii U was 2012, I believe. Yeah,
And then
Wii was
Switch
2012, so
came out.
Switch was 2017. So 5 years later, they actually implement the true system that was meant to be what a truly portable game was.
I'm gonna
Do you
tell
think they'll come out with a new DS even with the Switch out, or they're just gonna
I think
I
they're
think the
merging.
Switch-
I think
they're
just
merging it, yeah.
I
their
doubt it.
home console and their handheld, and I feel like that's an awesome move because as a kid, man, I've always wanted to play these great games on the go. I wanted to be able to play Super Mario 64 on the go, and they gave us that on the DS. Granted, they did, but now to kind of put that into one system where it's like, okay, I can take this on the go, but if I dock it, it'll give me that home console feel. It'll look like a home console.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the reason why people are so excited for a big mainstream original Pokemon game to come out on the Switch right now because it's like you have those two things, being able to play on your TV and then versus actually bringing it everywhere with you. But as you already explained, there's just things about the games that are not there. And it's like now gaming is just like it feels like the games just that are coming out don't have the substance to keep them lasting anymore.
I have a question.
Right.
What's up?
Sorry, Ray. Well, since you guys are bigger Pokemon fanatics than I am, I'm a big fan of Nintendo, but only for certain games.
Which is fair.
I have never really beaten a Pokemon game. I know someone that's hearing this is like, oh my goodness,
How
heresy.
dare you?
How dare you call
I
yourself
will.
a
I
dare
will
you,
give myself.
sir?
Yeah, I will give myself 40 lashes later. But how do you two individuals feel? Will you still play Sword and Shield?
For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
definitely.
I will give it.
Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna. I'll probably find. I might not like go out the way to pre-order it. I might wait a little bit or find somebody who might be able to get it to me for a cheaper price, or find somebody who might be selling their copy after the initial release, because it's just like. I need to see the Coral release come from Japan first and foremost, because that always got me. So like so does anyone remember when the fake leaks for Diamond and Pearl came out?
I think so.
It was like we didn't expect to be getting a fire monkey starter or the penguin or the turtle. Like there was like it was like a weird like serpent, almost Lapras looking type thing that they said it was gonna be, and I was like, that doesn't look about right. But then all of a sudden the Coral leaks came out with Infernape and Polion and Torterra, and I already knew who I was choosing between the different two. I ended up going Infernape, of course.
I always go
fire.
type.
Fire's always best starter.
Anyone that disagrees, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Except Pokemon X and Y.
X and Y, you had to go. You had to go
Okay,
Greninja, obviously.
I made the mistake. I went Fire, but then I quickly realized my mistake.
I restarted my game so quick.
I
saw my Finnegan evolve, and I was like, I need to restart this.
I need to restart. Like, what the fuck is this?
And the next thing I know, I got Froakie, and
what
then he
kind
evolved.
of Renamon stuff is this?
What kind of thing is this? But now that'll bring us on to our next question. Because,
well, real quick,
go ahead.
on Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I was kind of almost hot deep into this, quote unquote debate after the thing about no national decks, no importing Pokemon. I saw both extreme sides of said argument. I'm just like, you're both ridiculous, because people on one side were saying national decks and Mega Evolutions, Z Evolutions, and migrating Pokemon not being there automatically means the game is awful. And then the other people were saying those things that I just mentioned, those things not being there doesn't matter at all. It's for kids. You shouldn't care. You're a man child. Blah blah blah. They're both ridiculous, because like Mega Evolutions are recent. Z moves are recent. But the national decks, and I'll need you guys to correct me on this if I'm wrong, because I was talking to somebody and they said Sun and Moon had a national dex. I thought it didn't. I can't remember.
No, I don't believe it actually did.
Like
you had to transfer stuff over.
Yeah, outside of the Alolan region, like you couldn't catch stuff in the region, but you could import stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so it
was mostly for the competitive battling standard.
Okay, so in that sense, like it's so other Pokemon were still involved in Gen 7. Okay, good. In that sense, involving either national dex or Pokemon from other generations has been a thing since Gen 2.
True.
That is, to have it not be in a main entry, even though it's the Switch, even though it's not a handheld thing, that is very jarring. That is very jarring. We're talking Gold, Silver, Crystal, National Dex has been a thing. So I can understand it being jarring and being, thrown off by it, but by the same token, you cannot say that simply because those things are not in there means the game's gonna suck, because we don't know enough about it. We don't know the story. We only know a few of the Pokemon. We don't know the evil team. We don't know so many things. So I think the issue people are facing right now is you're taking out all of these things for what? And I think that's a problem with a lot of games in particular. Where you were just talked about substance. It's a lot of times it's you're skimping out on, maybe a game doesn't look that great. Maybe the voice acting is not that great. It's like, all right, you're skimping out on these things for what? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm jumping back to the last question for a second. So when it comes to like the Square Enix, Avengers game, I'm just like, all right, it doesn't look that great. You said it's not going to be paid. You're not going to have to pay for stuff. Now you do. What am I getting in return for that? You know what I'm saying? So that's why that's going to disappoint me, and I think that's why people on Sword and Shield are where they're at. But it's just like, you can't disregard what has been there, but you can't judge what's going to happen
based on what came out before. It's like, your
Yeah.
current girlfriend comparing you to her ex-boyfriend, but then, you're nothing like him, but she still continues to compare you anyway, and then vice versa in a relationship, because, we're creatures of habit. So because we're creatures of habit, we continue to develop these habits, and that's the reason why, like, whenever we talk about things along the lines of, we're going to just, because there's no substance and we don't know what we're going to get, like, as gamers, we're investing our times into our favorite developers, into our favorite games. Now, what are we getting back out of it because of the fact that we're investing so much time and money into giving your company what we want to see and we're hoping that will come to us? what exactly are we getting out of it? Are you
Yeah.
giving us anything truly in return?
That's why pre-orders are like a bad idea. The pre-orders actually hurt the gaming company.
Because you're stuck with this game once
Right.
you get it. You
I
don't
learned
have
that the hard way
choice.
with like Destiny 2, but like Destiny 2 is like doing better since they got rid of like Activision. Like I'm sorry, not sorry. I know a lot of people won't give Destiny 2 a chance
I
anymore.
give Destiny 2 a lot of shit, but I won't lie to you. The game has gotten significantly better in comparison to what it used to be.
Right. Like the new like the expansion that's coming out, Shadowkeep. I'm definitely dropping that money for there. Like, you know, I'm a The reason why I like Destiny is because like more of like the lore like behind it. Like,
Right.
Like, every time like I go on like YouTube or something and I listen like someone talk about the lore, I'm excited about that. You know, like stuff like that is like what keeps me into it. Even like especially after like, you know, like all the different developments that like, you know, like this is a Bungie's Destiny. Like, you know, sometimes like you deserve to like give games like a chance.
Yeah.
But, like pre-ordering just like it just doesn't help. Like, you know, like when you get like those games that are like, you know, just like they just come out and they are like you know, like let's say like Halo or something, like, you know, like some of like the Halos after Halo 3 or Halo Reach. Halo shouldn't have been a thing. Halo Infinite, like Halo Infinite, like looks good, and I'm excited for it. Like I love to see Master Chief like back in action, but like let's be honest, like Halo 4 was not necessary.
So to actually segue into the next question, what would you consider your game that you've noticed that like maybe caught like your eye or something, and you're kind of like waiting for that game to be released now? Like that's
Wait, from E3
or anything you've seen in the last like year or so.
I am currently like waiting for like the expansion of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Okay.
I'm like that's the first thing.
We don't discriminate against like DLC story expansions or anything like that. If you that's something like here you can say like if you feel and don't Last of Us 2 is another one that came to mind.
Yeah, no,
I'll
go ahead, guys.
Type
in the chat what games you guys are actually excited for. If you're in the chat, just go ahead, type that in real quick.
There's fucking what's that game like? It was not. I think Hollow Knight, like a version of Hollow Knight 2 is coming out, or Shovel Knight or whatever.
I know Ori and the Blind Forest is finally getting a sequel.
Those are like, you know, like big dick games.
And most of those are indie titles that
right.
we're
So like I'm always excited. Like I'm like a big like WoW head now. So like I'm like even if I won't play for months, like I'm excited for like whatever 9.0 might bring. Because like the WoW story is like pretty good right now. It's like, Ray, what are you excited for?
I will definitely say like recently I've kind of like fallen off with gaming news. Like jump back 5 years, I was on it. Like when it came to like you said, when it came to E3, when it came out to new releases on, you know, anything like any new trailers, you know, I was on it. Now not so much because, you know, like we've been saying, there's been oversaturation, there's been complacency, there's, you know, all that stuff. But when it comes to then The Last of Us hit me. It hit me in the face. When it came out for the PS3, I'm just like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, I've only had a chance to play it a handful of times, but like I've watched multiple Let's Players do it. I've played it on the PS4. It's a fantastic game. So when I saw the trailer for Last of Us 2, I'm just like, if I have a PS4, that is mine. That is mine in my hands. Mine. I need it now.
I agree. Like I like. There's a lot of PS4. Really there's a lot of Sony exclusives that I'm like ready to get.
Turned onto the Uncharted games. Oh yeah, the Uncharted games were actually really, really good in the past couple of years.
I know what good games are, Kyle. And that's why you skipped all the story, and I hate you for it. But,
Damn.
You know, like this friendship. So.
But Omar, what about you, real quick?
Man, I would have to. It has to go to Last of Us 2. Because,
wow.
I mean, here's the thing, man. That was the one game I was considering buying a console for. And I didn't. Ultimately, I didn't. It just didn't make sense to at the time. But that story.
Like, can I?
The story is good. Like, I literally, I'm like a whore for good stories.
Yeah.
Like The Last of Us, like Uncharted. Oh my god, like. Make a movie.
I think I could speak for all of us when I say this. When it like The Last of Us, I think is not like the perfect game, but it is like something that other companies should aspire to model the products after, because the story is fantastic. The mechanics are, you know, borderline flawless. You'll have some glitches, but like
It's
most
video
games.
games. Like,
I'm
what's
sorry.
a video?
That's
What is
part
a
of it.
video
As long as
game
you don't
without
get, like,
glitches?
If you guys remember when Assassin's Creed Unity came out and that was an absolute botch because the game itself just did not work.
Yeah.
As long as we don't get anything as bad as that,
Yeah,
I think
seriously.
we'll be content
We will
with what
be
comes
fine.
out with right now.
Yeah, it's like glitches are a part of games, but it's just like the game ran, pretty fantastically. So there was that. Let's see. I said story. I said it looked beautiful. I said the gameplay was great, and then it felt like, yes, it has all the things. And then when the DLC came out, and this is what part of what we were saying about substance, it didn't feel like you were missing something from the main game in that DLC. That DLC just added to a complete thing.
Exactly.
The game was a burger. The game was a fucking burger. And the DLC was like a large fries.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what it's supposed to be.
And then
That's
now
supposed
they, apparently according to Kyle, there's actually a movie for The Last of Us that has been announced.
Hot damn. All right.
And now finding that out, that just makes me believe that now we're finally getting the drink to our McDonald's meal.
Literally.
Okay.
This is a large. If the movie comes out and it's like made right, this is a large Coca-Cola.
I was gonna say,
But you also have to take consideration that all drinks at McDonald's are currently $1, so we could just get like $1 trash
I'm about
movie.
to say, tell
But
me,
that's
tell me,
still a drink nonetheless.
tell me who's making it, and show me a trailer on your actors who you're casting.
Right, I just need to see that.
Right.
Exactly.
Malco.
But so
AOG?
like I think
Hello there, sir.
the reason that Omar and I are looking forward to Last of Us 2 so much is just because games like The Last of Us are the kind of thing that we stick around for. I think that we all stick around for.
Right.
It is a complete thing. It is a thing that builds up just enough hype, that teases you a little bit, that doesn't botch it up once it's out,
Right.
and gives you some extra things that are that once they're added on, it's just like, oh, if I had this, I would know about X story thing. I would have been able to get past whatever mission.
Exactly.
What you guys feel for The Last of Us is how I feel about Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
literally,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
just-
Yeah, like,
Horizon Zero Dawn, like when I first started playing the game, the reason why I got the game is I'm gonna be a little petty here. It's like I got a PlayStation 4 for my ex's graduation, and I got Horizon Zero Dawn, not for her to play, but for me to play. Right? So I got her a PlayStation 4. I got her the game, and going into that game, I literally had so many questions. I'm like, what the fuck happened to this world? What's going on? It boggled my mind. I'm just like, what's going on?
Right.
yeah,
I'm just
it's
I
explosion.
need
Oh my
I need to figure out what happened here. And I think when games make you ask questions about their world building or whatever, that's important.
Which is why
go.
just because we're actually getting really close to our hour and a half runtime.
Mhm.
But so to finish it off, sorry about that, Mike. I'm glad that you're okay, and I'm glad that you're all good. I'll have you on probably in the next week. But just so, because we're getting really, really close to the end, personally for me, and I know I'm probably going to sound like I'm a bandwagoner right now, but I'm actually really, really excited for Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a fair game to be
Keanu
excited for,
Reeves.
and I promise you it's not just because of Keanu Reeves. As much as I love the actor, it's not because of Keanu
Honestly,
Reeves.
I would have accepted that as the
It's
seal.
the reason. Keanu
Exactly,
Reeves is in it.
yeah,
That's
no.
all we need. But
It's Keanu's.
John Wick
it's
3 was
Keanu's
great.
world. We're just
that's
here.
the thing, is that the reason why I'm so excited for it is just mostly because when I was watching the E3 conference about it, the developers and the publishers, they were very about their game. It just seemed like they had this passion for their game that they're developing, and they don't want anyone to toy with it whatsoever.
That's how it should be.
Exactly, and
That's
that's
how
how every developer should be about their games. And that's the reason why I'm so excited for it, is only because of the fact that catch these hands. I mean, developers that make shitty games can catch these hands.
Yeah, that's
I'm
a
ready.
fact.
I got a whole barbecue ready. I'm ready to catch all the smoke today. But see, that's the thing, is that I don't want to see another lazy developer get be called a critically acclaimed game. I don't like that. And it's I keep looking back at games that keep getting passed over as game of the year, and I'm like, that should like there's certain games I'm like, why was that game of the year? Like that should not have been
Fortnite.
even
What?
like why was
Yeah,
Fortnite even
that
in
was
the
absurd.
contention for
Right.
it? Like there should be no reason. I don't care how many people you brought together. I don't care how many streamers you made famous. I don't care how much money you made. That wasn't a game. That was just something that little kids can pick up on their phone or on any basic computer and just play. And that's not like a contention for game of the year.
I
But
mean-
Cyberpunk 2077, Last of Us 2, those types of games are all in contention for it because it seems like the developers actually care about getting the story mode out.
In defense of like Fortnite and like just like being like personable with like people, like some people just like it's just what it was, like it's just is what it is. Fortnite like got game of the year, is like it was up there, because like people enjoyed it, it like
Celebrities
at the
were
like
playing
the
it.
first thing about like when it comes to like a video game is like how much fun can you have with it. And like Fortnite delivered on that part. Like it took a genre like from like PUBG and it made something like different. We'll give it that. But like when it comes to like story based games, like I'm sorry, like I like Breath of the Wild may have beat like Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm always gonna be salty about this, but Horizon Zero Dawn, in my opinion, was the better game.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with Breath of the Wild.
But you gotta take into consideration the contention that Zelda has built up against
It's just-
all other games.
It was literally
Yeah.
literally nostalgia, and it was built right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you
like
just- you
you
can't
just
ask
I
for a
like
better game
I
at that
couldn't
point.
you could not beat that no matter
Yeah.
how hard you tried.
Yeah.
I got a real quick say
Go right ahead.
I got to really quick say like blow through what you were saying about when a game gets you like into it. I was at school. Friend had a PS3. I'd never had a PS3 in my life. I was still PS2. And I see Mass Effect. I'm just like, okay, Mass Effect.
Ooh.
Huh? What is this? I beat
Right.
the first game in 5 days, right? Split up because I have classes. I read everything. I scoured everything. I talked to everybody. I was into Mass Effect. Like with there was a race that I think it was the Batarians.
Yes.
I read up on them, and it's like, oh, we haven't seen them in many years. I'm just like, we're gonna see them on the next mission, aren't we? Lo and behold, we see him on the next mission. I'm just like, I called that, and I was excited that I was right from reading this thing. I beat the next 2 games in 27 and 24 hours. Okay, that's how into it I got, because the first game, obviously, mechanically was like, it's a foundation. You gotta start somewhere.
Dude, good games. You call out of work for those.
I'm just saying.
Oh
like,
yeah, I've called.
I
would have
called out of work for Mass Effect
after,
2.
Like,
I will
after,
say
like,
that
midnight
right
releases,
now.
I will openly admit I've called out of work for multiple end game releases that came out. Like Kingdom Hearts 3, even though I'm pissed about it still, I did call out the next day from work just so that I could play it because I wanted to really invest all that time into the game that I was like I waited 10 plus years for. So it's like not even 10 plus, it's like almost 15 full years that I had to wait for that damn thing.
17 total, yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't believe I waited for this. But like, see, that's the thing, is that like we're constantly in an endless rut where obviously. So now this is the final part of the podcast where we're gonna have everybody give their final verdict right now, yes or no, in a final sentence, or actually it's upward or downward, and then we're gonna give like one final little tidbit from everybody. So to start off, Ernst, up or down?
I'm gonna go with up for the sole reason. I have 2 reasons. I'm gonna go up because E3 2019 looked okay. Like there's like that Assassin's Creed game that like looks like Breath of the Wild that's coming out.
Yeah.
That looks pretty promising. And there's like Cyberpunk 2077. That looks pretty good. Like that looks pretty good as well. Like I don't like I hold my breath when like I think about like new games that are just like coming out. But at the same time, like like where like these AAA developers like lack their like business, like where they lack, that just makes room for like competition. That just makes room for like indie developers to like come in and like come up with like maybe the next big thing, and we won't even see it coming. I cannot tell you, a staff of 40 people made a Dark Souls like game called Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. One of the hardest and one of the best games I've played. Like with some of the best graphics. Like it's like Mass Effect, one of like the newer Mass Effects came out in its time, and Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice did way better, like in like the graphical department and the gameplay department of that game. So like the more these AAA like companies like mess up, the more it just leaves for like people that are actually gamers
That's a
to
fact.
come out and
That
like
is a
make
fact.
a bit to actually make video games. Yeah, exactly.
Sick and tired.
That's a
And like
fact.
to close my statement, like I know I probably said a bit like too much. Like this is one of the reasons why like, once I am done with like college, once I'm done with the university, I want to like make a small indie gaming company and come up with like something, so a game that like tells a story, you know, it's like something that like, you know, people can be personal with. I want something that's like gonna touch people's like feelings, and I think that's what games are about. Games are about like making you feel like some emotional attachment at some point.
Yep.
Like whether it's like in the heat of battle, just like phoning your friends in Halo 2, or whether it's like when a character dies in Final Fantasy. Games are an emotional attachment. They're like the new ways. They're the new books. They're the new ways to tell a story. Ray, you make up.
Joe, you hit almost every single point I was gonna hit. But I'll try and remix it a little bit. So at the beginning of the podcast, if anyone wasn't here, I said that we were plateauing because of the oversaturation and the complacency, but the ever so rare shiner. I will say, based on it, I will kind of piggyback off what Ernst said and agree with him that I think, are going up. I will say that I am cautiously optimistic, because in the same way that smaller companies can look at what the bigger companies are doing wrong and be like, all right, let me not do that thing. In the meantime, while those smaller people are working on those projects, we're gonna get more and more of the bigger companies mess up. So I'm gonna say up, as long as the bigger companies learn from their mistakes and put out less of the here's just a thing to make money. I mean, they're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, they need to make money, but like as long as they understand, like I'm gonna let you go real quick. As long as they understand that cosmetics are the way, then they'll be good.
Yeah,
like you make a game like with good gameplay, like you can do whatever you want.
That's
after
a fact.
That. As long as it's good gameplay, good story,
and then
you're set.
Sometimes good post game too. Sometimes you need a good post game.
Oh, absolutely. Like a good gameplay and post game and good story. Those are the foundation. You build up from that, and I think that people who understand that most are the people who play them. That's gamers. So it's like you said, the best games can come from gamers, and we need more people around like Satoru Iwata was.
Yes.
In his heart, he was a gamer.
Mr. Iwata, rest in peace.
Yes.
Rest in peace. I mean, you said it best. I mean, gamers make the best games. They've experienced it. They've been there. Right. Obviously, there's a huge difference between a gamer and a game developer. Right.
Right.
But you can't not be a gamer if you're a game developer, because you don't know what the fuck you're doing at that point.
Nope.
Right.
No.
You can't. Like, Michael Jordan cannot run NASA.
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Michael Jordan's great, but he doesn't know jack shit about space.
Like, I personally would not ask Elon Musk to come out of his, like, what he knows about Tesla and how he runs his company and all that stuff and be like,
here, man.
Yo, perform this surgery.
Yeah, make Breath of the Wild 2 for Nintendo, please.
don't.
I'm not gonna ask you to do that.
No.
I love you, Elon Musk.
I mean, Elon Musk, like, I'd giving him the benefit of the doubt. He might do a good job.
He might do a good job, but you never know, though. That's the thing. Like,
The guy's
I
a
wouldn't
genius.
trust a man like that.
Yeah, but like,
I wouldn't
in
just give
general.
him like, you wouldn't give him like the love child of Breath of the Wild.
Nah.
Make him make a second one and be like, this is by a production by Elon Musk, and I would sit there and look at him and I'd be like,
I'd commit Harry Carey.
yeah, right. Like, but.
Go ahead, Omar.
I think, I agree with you guys. It goes up from here. I mean, you mentioned the competitiveness, but I mean, when something sucks now, right? When something really sucks, people will say it.
Oh no, we make it real known, real fast. Did you guys see?
A perfect example is like Sky Williams when he was done with his a whole, like, he's a YouTube league YouTuber, and when he was done with his like whole like depressive episode. Not to cut you off, I'm really sorry. You have like plenty of beautiful things to say, but like. When Sky Williams was done with his like depressive episode, he's like, I realized that video games suck. I'm like, yeah, they fucking do.
They're terrible right now.
They're just garbage.
Terrible right now.
But that's the thing, and I think it takes not just criticism, but developers who are open to that criticism, because you don't get better from there. No Man's Sky didn't get better because they took a lot of criticism, and rightfully so. Rightfully
one of
so.
the lowest rated games of all time.
Right, right.
Well, I think Crackdown. What is it? Crackdown 2.
I think it might have been 2 because
Are we on Crackdown 2 right now?
we're on 3.
We're on yeah, because that was the one that was like released with like Terry Crews plastered all over the place, and I feel like they just thought like we could just release this because Terry Crews is on the cover.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
No, you can't.
No,
do
it's
that.
like they release a game and like it makes so much money and then like they just give up on it and like I think that's like disheartening.
Yeah, that's what
I
needs
think
to
that's
stop.
I think that's like the betrayal. That's a betrayal to like the consumer. Like anything, like no matter like what you do, like the like companies die because they don't like they don't conform to the consumer.
Exactly.
Like like you had Blockbuster died because like like Netflix did like whatever it did to like it brought like entertainment to the consumer home. And like hotels are dying to Airbnb because like it comes down like it personalizes things to like the consumer.
Exactly.
AAA companies will die if they do not like listen to like what the consumer wants. Point blank. Period.
And with that much said, basically, as we've been saying this entire podcast, change is the most constant thing in the world. I learned that back in high school from my choir instructor, Mr. Blanchett. Love you. Anywho, guys, that is it. Thank you guys for coming to the world premiere of GetBlerded. Hashtag GetBlerded. Use that hashtag on Twitter. Use that hashtag on Instagram. That's going to be the hashtag for the podcast and for my streams in general. This is also the actual announcement that I will be coming back to streaming after this. So that starts up this week. I'm super, super excited. And that will be in contingent with other streamers. I'll be partnering with other people, as well as this will be a weekly thing for these podcasts as things start to start to get things going more and more and more.
Wait, what are we gonna be playing? Not to cut you off.
This next upcoming week, we're actually gonna be doing. I'm doing a stream with another friend of my friends, Goofy, and we're gonna be going through Astroneer on Tuesday.
Okay.
Thursday we will be doing. Actually, Thursday there will be no stream because I remember I work 4th of July, and obviously 4th of July we're gonna be doing some craziness. Friday will be the next.
Are you doing anything for 4th of July?
I will not be until 7:30.
Okay, well just let me know. Like,
I'll hit you up. But
if you're playing League, let me know. Like that.
And then Thursday will be my climbing. Friday will be my climbing day for League. I'm trying to get the hell out of silver, and then I'll try to pick another day in the middle of the week to stream. It's probably gonna be a random day, but you guys will then, if you follow me on Twitter and my Instagram are also linked in the panels below. You guys will then be able to see like all my streaming schedules for each week. I'll have like those set up so people will always know when I'm gonna be streaming. With that much said, Omar, Ray, Ernst, I could not be any more appreciative of you guys coming out here today. This was absolutely amazing. I had a smile on my face this entire time, and I can't wait to start making more and more advancements towards this podcast and really getting this going. And I hope to have you guys on here again really, really soon.
It's gonna be lit.
Dude, like give me the link to this like earlier so I can like advertise it on my like
Oh yeah, no, advertising will be done much better next time. I promise you guys. This will be like advertised like a good hour in advance. Like I know I did like a post 5 hours beforehand,
gonna, like, do a day.
But like I'll make sure that these things are coming out more and more consistently. This is basically like the replacement for my weekly radio show that I used to do when I went to CCSU. Like I'm really, really happy to be doing this. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the little bit of music that's going to be going for the time being. And with that said, this is Malco the Blerd coming at you with GetBlerded, baby. Join the Blerdy crew. You guys got to follow, subscribe, do whatever you guys got to do. And with that much said, I'll see y'all next Sunday at 8 p.m. Same time, same place, baby. And let's get it.